Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. This is IMAX Sports with another football video with another basketball video, and today I'm going over my NBA playoff power rankings for the 2022 NBA season. I have the 20 teams that are currently in the race to be in the playoffs for the season. Technically, Cleveland got knocked out today, but they did make the top 10, so I did still include them in the power rankings. So yeah, they did get knocked out last night, but I still wanted to include them in the video. This is my power rankings for all of the teams that are in the playoffs. I didn't include the teams below top 10 in each because they're not playing anymore. But yeah, they're also all going to be below the top 20. Only 10% of you are actually subscribed. So now that I'm posting videos consistently again, if you guys are new to the channel and you want to hit that subscribe button, it's free and you can always unsubscribe. So with that, let's get right into the video. First off, we have the playoff hopefuls. This includes the Spurs and the Pelicans. These two teams have by far the worst record of any team that's currently in or fighting for a playoff spot. Not much else to be said. Borderline playoff teams, we have the Hornets, we have the Hawks, we have the Cavs, we have the Bulls, and we have the Clippers. The Bulls are currently in 6th place in the highest seed of all these teams here, but they are 3-7 in their last 10 games. They played very uninspiring basketball recently. They might be 4-6. They may have won the last game, but they've dropped from 1st place to 6th place in the East. The Clippers technically are 4 games behind the Bulls, but the Clippers have been playing pretty decent basketball recently, and the Bulls just have not had it together, and I don't think that they're going to be able to do much in the playoffs. Cleveland just lost to the Nets in the first wild card, the first play-in game, so they will play a second play-in game against the Hornets or the Hawks, whichever one of those teams wins. I do think Cleveland is the favorite in that matchup, but they, as like the Bulls, have been playing poorly recently and are 3-7 in their last 10 games. Outside contenders, we have the Timberwolves, the Nuggets, and the Jazz. All 3 of these teams have had good and bad parts of the season. The Jazz were, I think, the number 2 seed at one point in the year. They might have even been the number 1 seed at the very beginning. They had a very strong start to the season, but they've slowly diminished as teams like the Mavericks and the Timberwolves have come up the ladder a little bit. They're still a pretty solid team. They still have some chances to do well in the playoffs, but currently I have them at number 11. I have the Nuggets at 12. The Nuggets have been pretty consistently the 5 seed the entirety of the year. They may have gotten to the 4 seed at one point or the 6 seed, but they've probably been the most consistent team in the league. They haven't really been anything special, but they've definitely been a solid playoff team the whole year. As for the Timberwolves, they had a poor start to the season, but their offense has been incredible. They had a really good middle of the season, and the very end of the season, they lost a little bit of their momentum, but they still made the playoffs, and they're still going to be a pretty solid team. Legit contenders, we have the Nets, the 76ers, the Raptors, and the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are 3rd place in the West, but I have them 7th overall. I do think that there are a couple better teams than the Warriors. I had them earlier in the year winning the whole thing, but the last few weeks they've looked a little inconsistent, and they're still a very strong team and a very strong contender, but they've looked a little inconsistent the last few weeks. Toronto is a team that, on the opposite side, has really stepped up the last month of the season. They were a borderline playoff team for a while, and they've really been able to step up their game. They are in the 5th spot currently in the East. They're playing the 76ers in the first round of the playoffs, and I do think Toronto is going to win that series. The Sixers are in 4th, the Raptors are in 5th. I believe the Raptors are either 2 or 3 games behind the Sixers, but the Sixers have been playing mediocre, while the Raptors are 8-2 in their last 10. They're playing really fantastic basketball. I almost put them in the 7th spot, but the Warriors have won their last 5 games in a row, and I wanted to give them some respect. With the Nets, I have the Nets at 10. I do think that they are better than all 3 of these teams from the West. They've had their fair share of injuries. and they're currently in the 7th seed for the East. Although I think that they will get out in the first round, I do think that they're a pretty solid team. They do have chances to do a lot this year if they can get over the injuries and get it together. Borderline elite teams. We have the Milwaukee Bucks. We have the the Mavericks. I don't know why I can't. The Dallas Mavericks. Sorry, not Denver. The Grizzlies and the Heat. I have the Bucks at 6. They're the 3 seed in the East. They've been playing pretty solid basketball the whole season. They started off not fantastic, but they got to that 2 seed pretty quickly and kind of stayed there. Towards the end of the season, the Celtics came back up, but they are keeping the 3 seed, and they've had a pretty solid top of the pack season. I do have the Mavericks above the Bucks. The Mavericks have come from behind. They had a very poor start to the season. Their seasons pretty much mirrored the Celtics. Both had poor starts, both finished with 50-plus wins. Dallas has had a fantastic year. And although they're currently below the Golden State Warriors in the seeding, I do think that they have a stronger team currently. The Grizzlies are at 4th. They have 55 wins on the year, and the Heat have 53 wins on the year. Have the Heat above the Grizzlies because the Heat are currently in 1st place in the East. The East has more mediocre teams, and so you're not going to get as many easy wins as you would in the West, where the 9 and 10 seeds are so far below 500. I think that the East has been a slightly tougher conference this season, so I think that the Heat have definitely proven that they can play. They did have a rough patch a couple weeks ago, but overall they have a very consistent team. They've consistently been in the playoffs the last few years, and they've had moderate success. I do think that they'll go far this year, and definitely contending for the championship. The NBA elites, we have the Boston Celtics and we have the Phoenix Suns. Yes, I do have the Celtics at the number 1 spot. No, this is not biased in any way, shape, or form. Definitely not at all whatsoever biased. The Celtics are the strongest team in the NBA, in my personal opinion as a Celtics fan. I have been all on board for the championship since like the end of January. I really have been wanting to get back into making videos, and I knew that one of the first videos when I came back was going to be praising the Celtics for how they've turned around their season. We started off 17-21, I think, and now we're 51-31, or something like that. It's been a crazy turnaround, insane season for the Celtics. I think we're 33-10 in the last 43 games. The Suns have consistently been the number 1 team in the league this year, but I do think that the Celtics are coming on strong, if not stronger. We did lose a couple of key games towards the end of the season against Milwaukee and against the Heat, but we were missing 3 of our starters against Milwaukee, and we were still missing Williams, and some of our other players were injured against the Heat. So those 2 games were really bad metrics for how well we are playing currently, and I think that the Celtics do have a chance, if not our favorites, to win the championship right now this season. Best defense in the league. These 2 teams are by far the highest in point differential. Celtics are one of the highest teams in field goal percentage differential. Celtics have the best defense. 2 players going for Defensive Player of the Year. And the Suns just have a gauntlet of a team. Easily some of the best shooters in the league. And it'll be a really good matchup with the Celtics coming on strong towards the end of the season if these 2 teams were to meet in the finals. So, those are my NBA playoff power rankings for this season. I'm really excited for the NBA playoffs. I'm probably going to be making some weekly prediction videos. I'm definitely going to be making a prediction video coming up later on this week once all of the seeding is decided, but I wanted to get this one out as soon as possible. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.